So tell me a bit about you guys and Firebird Brewing Company.
Well, where do we start? I've been a brewer all my life, so it's sort of in the blood for me. And having run breweries in the past, I always wanted to sort of start again, and met up with Richard just before Christmas. We'd been old friends from years ago. First met in 1983, I think it was,
yep.
Where we were at brewing school together. Our paths diverged, and at Christmas time last year, I think they very much converged.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, that's the idea we had over a pint of beer in a local pub to set up again, and here we are 365 days later.
Not quite, actually, even less.
No,
yeah. Not quite a year. But
not quite a year.
Running and successes so far.
Yes, it's gone well. Well, actually getting the thing built's been a success in itself because we started from a complete dereliction. This was the only bit that's still surviving in this building is the concrete frame. Everything else is brand new, the floor, the walls, the heating, not much heating, the water, the electricity. We've had to do all of that, along with our landlord, who also owns Sussex Charmer Cheese. And it's been a great experience. And getting it up and running, getting it brewing the back end of July was fantastic. And actually, even we had an evening when we just invited the landlord and some local neighbours to taste our first brew in August, and even that was a success in itself. It was just great fun, and the beer was fantastic. Even first off, and we were just delighted.
Yeah,
so
it was
just doing it for the party, aren't you?
It was a bit, yeah.
It was literally the first brew, and we were so pleased with the taste of it.
Right.
We just invited our friends,
and we couldn't, throw it away. We anticipated doing, half a dozen trial brews to get a commercially viable product, but from day one, probably a month earlier than we anticipated, we were up and running, selling, which was great, but obviously caused problems in terms of finishing the building where we were still sort of in the middle of it. And then our focus went on to things like IT and telephone calls and customers and stuff like that.
All the hygiene factors in business.
Yeah.
the hygiene factors, which would take a lot of time.
Yeah. We were talking about the state of the beer industry earlier and the growth and demand for the microbrewery sector and produce.
Yeah.
What's behind that? What's the consumer thinking when they come around to buying beer?
Well, there's two main growths in the microbrewing industry. One is fueled by the fact that the larger brewers over the last 10 or 15 years have virtually completely come out of producing cask ale. Right. And secondly, good old Gordon Brown in 2002, I think it was, gave small brewers a duty incentive. So basically, all the small brewers pay 50% of the duty that the larger brewers pay. So we can compete on a level playing field in terms of economies of scale and that sort of thing.
You might not be popular with many people, but Gordon Brown is the small brewer's darling. I think the other thing that's happened is, of course, people love beers that are made locally. Well, they love anything that's made locally that they can see and they can feel and touch, and they can actually look at the people that made it and buy it from them and get to know us. And that's actually a really important part of what we're doing. We're not really interested in making a national business. It'd be lovely if it one day happens, but it's absolutely a local company. We are doing a lot more than just selling beer. You could say we're selling enjoyment in one form or another. Either it's a really nice beer in a pub, or it could be a very nice beer at home, or it could be coming to the brewery for a tour, or it could be learning to make beer in here, or it could be a young person probably getting their first foot on the employment ladder by getting work experience in here, which is another thing that we're going to do. So we are engaged, we're going to be engaged, and hopefully that'll mean that we have a business which people are proud of in the locality and actually has a raison d'etre. So pubs want to stock our beer, not just because the beer's nice, although that's a fundamental, but actually because we're known around the area, people like us, and we're doing the right things in our area.
Yeah, it's so important.
Vital, absolutely vital, particularly for a small business. We're going to be sub 1 million turnover for quite a long time.
Right.
And in that sort of situation, getting national distribution sounds fantastic, but it comes with an enormous number of risks, and it probably creates a business which we wouldn't particularly identify with. Whereas a strong local business that's got a good cash flow, I mean, there are good financial arguments behind this as well. It's not just emotional, although the emotional bit is very strong. There's an element of, we both reckon we're unemployable. But partly because nobody else, I wouldn't employ me, but also because we're not really interested in working for anybody else anymore. We've probably got to that time in our lives. So we actually want to do something that we enjoy, and this is what we enjoy. So going off to sell beer in Scotland or Timbuktu or something might be very nice one day, but that's probably a very long way from here.
Well, your market is local, your produce is local, and I think two things there.
Yeah.
That combination of your passion for it and also the financials are what all successful businesses are about.
But
and you've just opened a shop as well. That's good.
Yeah, we have an on-site shop that's been open a couple of weeks now, and initial indications are that it's going to be a success. Part of our business plan was to sell as much as we can from the brewery. And so we do a range of all our beers, gift packs, that sort of thing, but also a small range of wine, and also the cheese from the Sussex Charmer. So it's early days yet, but we're very pleased with the progress.
Very pleased, and it's good fun. People, it's a draw. People come in. Sometimes even during the week, we might be brewing, and somebody comes into the shop, and it's just nice to have company, and they like to see us actually making the stuff, and we like to see them, and it's a very nice environment.
Well, what could be better from a consumer's point of view, seeing it being made and buying what you see as being made?
Can't be fresher than bought in our own shop.
I take on board what you said about local and scale of the business. But if we were stood here in 5 years' time, what would it look like then? What's your ambition?
Well, I hope we'd still be here in this building. It might be full. It might have vessels up to the ceiling. But I hope we'd still be here. That's certainly our plan.
We might have taken on a bit of extra space. There's plenty here to go at. But Richard's right. I mean, the location here is fantastic for us, and it really ticks all the boxes. So there wouldn't really be any reason why we should move from here.
No, I hope not.
But I mean, part of our business plan is to have that locality of business and people coming in and everything else. But at the same token, we want to brew beers from around the world to make it quite interesting. So, we do have plans to produce all sorts of different beers, not just, cask beers. We've started with our Pilsner Lager, which has been really successful. And I think in January we're going to attempt a German wheat beer, which will be
the
a
next challenge.
But, we're reasonably confident that we'll get something that's pretty good. So that will add a lot of interest, and obviously the shop's important for that because a lot of those beers will be bottled, and it's a good place to initially market them direct from the brewery.
What we're finding, to our surprise, perhaps it shouldn't be a surprise, but actually we're getting a lot of support for that strategy from local pubs as well. So doing something different, we thought would be counter to what they want to do. They just want something steady away, and if it's locally made, that's great. But actually, they're really interested in the fact we're planning to do things a little bit off the wall, and certainly that's on trend. If you take what's going on in other parts of the world or major conurbations like London or Brighton, you can see an enormous variety of beers being consumed and a growing level of, across both sexes, interest in interesting craft beers which are not actually standard real ales, although that's still a mainstay, but people are drinking all sorts of different things, and it's very encouraging.
So just coming up to a year old, is it fair?
Not really. I mean, we had the idea a year ago, but
we stood in a brickworks here. It was just a shambles.
we moved in here on the 1st of June and started commercially selling beer from the 31st of July.
Right.
We do everything. And on that point, I'm going to go and do some deliveries now. Today just happens to be our biggest delivery, I think, that we've done. So
if you could just say your names and what you do to the camera, that would be good for us to edit in as well.
So I'm
look at Martin,
I'm Bill King, qualified brewer and been in the brewing industry all my life. and still loving it.
I'm Richard Peters. I started in my brewing career alongside Bill at Birmingham Brewing School. I joined Courage, but then moved on into various other roles, mostly in the alcoholic drinks, but not exclusively, and came back to my home love when Bill phoned me up and asked for a pint, and the rest is history.